Hi everyone, I'm back sooner than I expected to be, but this is a Sunday afternoon, one of those gloomy days. You're starting to get used to me giving a weather report every time I come on, but it being that dark, gloomy day, what do you do on days like that? Lots of times you take good long naps. Uh, I slept so late today that I slept through my nap. So here I am thinking, oh, I can always tell another story. This one won't be I'm belching. This one won't be very long, but hopefully it'll hold your interest. Now, I keep thinking I'll get back to my trips to England. There are a few things that took place that I think you would find interesting. And so today I was reading one of my stories on my iPad, and I thought, I don't think this story is in my book. I don't remember doing this story in the book. So I checked. I didn't find it, but if I did, you can follow along with me if you have the book. So what I want to show you first, let's see, how can I go about this? I'm going to read the story. But I want to show you some pictures first. I think you'll appreciate these pictures. You got to get them in your mind. I'm working with two iPads now. I don't know. That's the only way I know to do these things, because I don't know how to do the cut and paste sort of thing we used to do in school. So I'm showing you 2 or 3 pictures. I want you to keep them in your mind when I'm telling the story. So take a close look at the first picture. Here we go. This is my method. Take a real close look. What do you see? Pretty good looking peacock, isn't it? And you see all those people in the background staring forward beyond the peacock? Well, what they're looking at is me. Now take a look at that wall. See how it's about a 6-foot high concrete wall. I'll be mentioning that in my story, so by looking at this picture, you'll have a very good view of what I'm telling you. Now let me go to the next picture. Oh, this is a beauty. Have you been that close to a peacock before? Well, when you hear my story, you'll know why. You've got a close-up of this peacock. Isn't he a beauty? Staring right at me. So get that in your mind. Now this time, the peacock has turned around and is walking away from me. Have you ever seen anything any more beautiful than that? Look at all those big blue eyes on those feathers. Now, see if there's another one. Oh yes, here's one. What do you think? Just a glowing, glowing big bird. Now I'm going to try to get to my story, and if I don't get to it, I'm going to have to tell you. Oh, goodness gracious. This little old thing's about to explode on me anyway. I'll keep trying, clicking until I get the story, because the story's on this computer. Let's try again. Here we go. Now I've got the story, so I'm going to read from this, and you get to look at my glitzy glasses. I'm in England. I don't remember which year it was, but It's been a while back. So, I'll start with the story. As it says, golly Moses, I can't even remember what year it was when I made this trip to England. I've lost track of time, but these photos take me back to how beautiful the weather was and the places I visited. My friend and I discovered a vintage shop at a place called Strawberry Hill. It's hard to remember exactly the names of these places. We had taken the train to a different part of London. Thank goodness for my friend's research done in advance, we were able to travel the underground from place to place. I found a booth in the antique shop with Miriam Haskell jewelry. Beautiful pieces, so my daughter Jan lucked in this time. She would be getting a gorgeous bracelet when I returned home. That was the trip, I think. I took the train to Kew Gardens. We stepped off the train at a very small station that looked like something I'd seen in old British movies. We walked from the platform through a small shady village. Oh, it was a beautiful little village. And into Kew Gardens. There were so many things to see in the gardens. It was huge. It was huge. And I saw one airy looking building, went inside. It had glass all around. And it was cactus gardens. Now, the only cactus I've ever seen are those little ones that you buy in the store in little flower pots. There were so many different kinds of cactus, and they were all sizes, beautiful. And there was the, which one? Can't think of the name of it. See, I lose my train of thought. But they were so pretty, and I've got pictures somewhere, just don't know where the pictures are, of the cactus garden. We walked and we walked. When we saw trees, we saw shrubbery, bushes, flowers, animals of all kinds. Now I'm going to continue reading. We were several hours into our tour of the grounds when we came to a section where visitors were gathered. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. That wasn't planned. Okay, we wondered what the attraction was, and then we saw it. A beautiful peacock strutting here and there. Now, you saw the pictures of the peacock. Everyone with a camera was positioned to take photographs. Now and then the bird would spread his tail, and it sounded like wind shattering through the trees. You know how you've seen those videos of the leaves shaking on the trees and them falling to the ground? That was basically the sound we heard. I had my camera handy, so while my friend climbed a high-rise walkway, and I don't know how to describe this any other way, with 2 or 3 levels where people could look out over the grounds and see the beauty of many varieties of trees and flowers. At one point, I moved to the corner of a walled-in concrete section to take pictures of the peacock. Now, you saw that concrete wall. You're going to have to excuse me. Sneezing doesn't help a video, you know. Well, let's see. Where was I? Okay. The entire corner was hidden by a peacock. I couldn't get out. and it appeared the peacock wasn't going to let me out. The people began laughing. I looked up and saw my friend standing high above me, leaning over the railing, watching our movements. There was nothing I could do to get out of my little prison. I was caged in by a peacock. Finally, the peacock began shuddering his feathers, with the huge eyes of each feather glistening in the sunlight. You saw those feathers. The peacock raised his head and slowly walked away and across a path. I showed you the pictures. Kew Gardens is unlike any other garden I have ever seen. We took the train from London into Kew Gardens. When the train pulled into what we would think should be a station, there was no station there. It's just a little stop off for the train, and all of the people got off. There weren't that many people, but it was everything I have seen in old movies. And I looked around and I just felt like I was being filmed. This little train, an old-fashioned looking train. That was the story I wanted to tell you. I thought it would take more time than that, but hopefully you got the picture of the peacocks. I can't even think of anything else to tell you about right now, but this just makes a short video, and I do want to say my trips to England were the highlights of my life. By that time, I was in my late 50s, just beginning to travel. It was due to the contest I entered. You've heard all about my contest. I got brave enough to enter a magazine contest, decorating. My sister was redoing her kitchen, and I was helping her with it. You know, she got a new stove, new countertop, new flooring, and we were painting the walls, doing all that sort of thing. That was when we went to a bookstore looking for a specific magazine that already had my photographs in it. Oh, well, you know, I do like to show off. So we were looking for that magazine, and in finding it, I picked up the Country Accents magazine, and then right in the centerfold was entered this contest for round trip to London, England. I said, buy this magazine. I didn't have any money with me. I was just along with her. I said, buy this magazine. We're going to enter a contest. Well, she bought the magazine for me. We got home, and we continued working on our decorations. I was working. She's retired, and each day at noon I would go to her house, and I'd carry some of my antiques and vintage items that I thought would look good in a photograph, and continued working. Now, this went on for 2 months. It came time, the ending of the contest. Got to get your entry in the mail. So she wasn't willing to do it. I said, I've worked too hard. We're going to enter this contest. Put it in the mail. She did. Well, let's see. It was another month. We waited. I think it was like 1st of May. I kept going to her mailbox. She was out of town when the contest ended. And I kept checking her mail each day. Final day, nothing in the mail. Oh well, that's okay. I like to decorate anyway, and she was enjoying getting her kitchen looking pretty. And she had a big long kitchen. One end of it was the cooking area. The other end had her um, had her old. She had one of those sow belly kitchen cabinets that had been her mother-in-law's. She also had a stone fireplace in that end of the kitchen, which was ideal for photography. I was a little disappointed with the fact, well, we didn't win the contest because we had to send two photographs. One of the cooking end of the kitchen, the other was the eating end of the kitchen. And that's all you had to do, and you just had to write a little paragraph about your entry. And I'm thinking, what did I expect? I didn't really think I was going to win a contest, did I? But it would have been nice. So, it was about 5 days later. The phone rang. Guess who it was? It was the editor of Country Accent magazine. Ma'am, you won the decorating contest. I won't tell you exactly what I said that day, because it wouldn't be proper for young people to hear. But it was a total shock to me. And the question next was, what did I win? The editor says, you don't know what you've won? I wasn't the least bit concerned about the prize. It was just the idea of getting to do decorations, enter a contest for a magazine, and I was having fun. I didn't think anything about winning, but there we were, my sister and me. Trip for two. Round trip on the Queen Elizabeth II. If you've never seen that ship, reserve a cabin on the ship. Or, better still, they built a new one after that, the Queen Mary II. I've been on that one too. I really started to blossom. Yeah, I was coming alive. Finally. I'd never been on a ship before. Oh, goodness gracious. The one person who has the worst case of motion sickness in the world is going to go across the ocean on a ship. What am I going to do? I really worried about staying well on that ship. Well, that situation got taken care of later. But everybody's so excited. They knew I was entering this contest. They knew how much work I was putting into my sister's kitchen. And they were all so excited for me. It was just as if they were taking the trip themselves. It was 6 days over and 6 days back on the Queen Elizabeth II. The medication that I took actually was, the information was given to me by one of the passengers on the ship. It was a couple from England. They were on their honeymoon. They were going back home from New York City. They were both detectives, such delightful people. And he started talking to me when we were at the dinner table right by the window where I could see every wave that went by that window. And I couldn't look out. This young man said, "You go to the infirmary as soon as we finish dinner, and they can give you a shot that will keep you from getting sick." I couldn't wait to finish that dinner, and I hurried to the infirmary. It took me forever to find it. But when I got there, I said, "I want that shot that you give for motion sickness." He gave me the shot. And folks, I'm telling you, that's the best thing that's ever been discovered as far as I'm concerned. I was 6 days on that ship, and never one time did I even have a wave of sickness. Not once. I could watch those waves go by that ship, just stand on board and look out at the sun shining on the water. It was wonderful. I couldn't believe it was happening to me. So, 9 days in England. We went to Wales. We went to Scotland. We went to Edinburgh. It was the most delightful 9 days I can describe to you. Everything went perfect. 6 days back to the United States on the Queen Elizabeth II. I'm telling you, I went again on the Queen Elizabeth II, and later I made two trips on the Queen Mary II. One of those trips was to Nova Scotia, round trip. So here I was, started my travels at the age of 57. It's been several years now since I've been out of the country. Would love, love, love to go back again, but I don't think my age is going to let me do too much roaming around, even though I would love to go again. So, my message to you is, if you want to see the world, or just a little smidgen of the world, start now. Don't put it off. You will be sorry if you put it off. If you can afford it, and I know most of these trips are expensive, but you can plan small, short, at-home trips, just as beautiful. Don't let your life go by without having seen a little corner of the world. I want to take another trip. I don't know if I ever will, but I'm going to try. And most likely Jan will go with me, because I can't go alone. There's no way I'd go by myself. So I'm working toward another ocean voyage. I'll get that shot, and off I'm sailing. Keep that in mind. I'll tell you more stories about England and the people I met. So, my little story about the peacock turned out a little longer than I expected, but anyway, you got to see this beautiful peacock. Here we go. I want to show it to you again. He's such a beauty. I want you to see. Here he is. And I'm telling you, I could see in his eyes, he was enjoying having me cornered. And I mean, I was cornered behind that concrete wall, and all those people were back behind the peacock watching me trying to get out of my predicament. But nothing any prettier than that. There he is. You see the wall, you see the people, and I could not get around that peacock. If I moved to the left, he moved to the left. I went to the right, he was standing there waiting for me, and I thought, oh, and the funny part was my friend standing at the top of that climbing steps, grinning from ear to ear, because she could see I was stuck. But I'm so glad I got a picture of this peacock. That's the only thing I could do while I was standing there, was pull out my camera and take his picture. And I want him to know he's getting lots of attention now. So, thank you for watching me. You're a joy to talk to. You're a joy to read your responses. You are so, I don't know what to call it. I don't have words. My vocabulary doesn't allow me the fancy word to describe how I feel about my relationship with you. Keep watching and keep telling me what you think. Thank you so much.